Understood, Your Honor. I think the last time you handled this is if they wanted to leave now, they could, but not to leave during the thing or show any, if possible, show any outbursts of emotion, stuff like that.
I'm not kicking the camera out of the court.
I'm not asking, I'm just asking for cooperation. I think they all.
You can talk with them, don't, I'm not removing the camera. But, yeah, he went to the restroom. You guys want to come up real quick? Up record.
Last time we stipulated Casey Goodson autopsy.
I didn't put it on the
What,
record.
the Casey Goodson, the autopsy's done on Casey Goodson?
Yes, yeah,
You already put it on the record?
Well, I
Put
don't
on the
know, you
record.
can put it on the record, yeah. Mark and I talked, and we didn't show the photograph.
It's not. No, I'm with this.
I wouldn't put that one up.
It's like so. All right.
Gary.
Yep.
Yeah, she can just talk.
You ready? Next matter, 21 CR 5052. Do we need to put anything on the record prior to bringing in the jury?
No, you are. Not for the defense, Your Honor.
All right, let's go. Jury.
I'm sorry, 24.
All rise.
Yeah, I got
Everyone can have a seat. Any further witnesses on behalf of the state?
Call Dr. Ian Scheffler.
Your Honor, prior to Dr. Shepard testifying, we do have one other stipulation, and that would be that the parties agree that the individual that Dr. Shepard performed an autopsy on and is going to testify about was Casey Goodson Jr.
So stipulated, Your Honor.
Little all the way around here. It's a maze. Little maze. You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear, affirm under penalty of perjury, your testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Pull yourself up. And you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name?
Yes, it's Ann Shepler, spelled S-H-E-P as in Paul, L-E-R.
And would you tell us your occupation?
I am the Chief Deputy Coroner and Forensic Pathologist at the Franklin County Coroner's Office, also known as the Franklin County Forensic Science Center.
Okay. And how long have you been employed there?
That's a good question. So I actually was there for almost 2 years, back in 2020 to 2022. And then I've been back at the office since 2024, so.
Would you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your education and training background leading?
We have no issue. We would stipulate that she's given opinions before, she's certified, she's a forensic pathologist. If you want to go through it, we can stipulate all that.
Okay, that's fine. I'd like to just briefly, maybe we just hit on it briefly.
Go ahead.
Okay, just briefly give them your educational background.
Sure. So I completed, after my undergraduate degree, I completed medical school. That is followed up with a pathology residency, an anatomic and clinical pathology, followed by a neuropathology fellowship, followed by a forensic pathology fellowship.
And are you currently licensed?
Yes.
In which states?
In Ohio, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania.
And are you board certified?
Yes.
In what fields?
Anatomic pathology, clinical pathology, neuropathology, and forensic pathology.
Would you explain to the ladies and jury what is a forensic pathologist?
So a forensic pathologist, so just backing up to just pathology in general, pathology is the branch of medicine that is the study of disease. And under that, forensic pathology is the subspecialty of pathology that deals with or focuses on the performance of autopsies to determine cause and manner of death. But as part of our training, we also are trained in the evaluation of injuries.
And did you have an occasion to perform an autopsy on Casey Goodson Jr.?
Yes.
And when did that occur?
The autopsy occurred on December 7th, 2020.
Okay. And did you create a postmortem examination report?
Yes.
And I'm going to hand you, find it. And leave it over there.
She has her own report.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just hand you anyway. States Exhibit 24.
Okay.
Is that a fair and accurate copy of the report that you generated in this case?
Yes.
So could you explain to the ladies, how did you become aware of Casey's case?
For Mr. Goodson's case, we were notified by the hospital when he was pronounced dead at the hospital. For cases where there are injuries, those are the types of cases the hospital will contact the coroner's office, our office, to let us know of the death because those become our case, because part of our jurisdiction. And so in Casey's, Mr. Goodson's case, we were notified by the hospital of the death, and then we coordinate bringing him into our office after that.
I'm going to hand you a stack of photographs here, all right? And they are States Exhibit 6M, and it goes through Tim, I can't read your writing. I'm sorry. So it'd be 6M through 6Z. You could take a look at that. Tell me if you recognize those photographs.
Yes.
And are those photographs that you took during your examination in this case?
Yes.
And did they fairly and accurately depict what you saw and what you took that day?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. When somebody comes in to the coroner's office, in this case, Casey Goodson, what do? Do you create an identification tag or?
Yes. And actually, each case that we get notified of automatically will get its own unique identifying number. So that's as soon as we are notified of the death, and that we will take jurisdiction. And so that number will follow the case throughout its entirety. And so those will be depicted in the photographs as well, that unique identifying number. But also it's on, we'll have that on the body bag tag as well.
And I'll just show you Exhibit 6M. Is this what you're referring to? I'm sorry. Is it on my end? There we go. Oh. So that's the case number and the body bag.
Yes.
Now, we've already stipulated to the identification of Casey Goodson in this matter, okay? But what do you, when he came into the office, or in here for the autopsy, did he have any medical treatment beforehand?
He did, yes.
And what type of medical evidence of medical treatment was there?
He had an endotracheal or breathing tube placed. He'd also had what's called a thoracotomy incision. That's a sutured incision it was sutured when we received him, but it's an incision made on the chest. In this case, it was on the left side of his chest. That's made by the doctors at the hospital when they're trying to save the life of that individual. They're trying to repair any injuries that they can internally. He also had some intravascular catheters, so some IV lines, as well as, those were also, there was one in his leg as well. And that was all that he had for intervention.
And could I have that back on? I'm going to publish 6N. And it's photograph from the coroner's office. I'm just going to pull it down. Is that the medical evidence of medical treatment there?
Yes, so, does this work? Okay, so this photograph depicts his chest, Mr. Goodson's chest. At the top of the photo is where his head would be, and then towards the bottom would be towards the feet. And you can see on his left side of the chest, this sutured incision that I talked about, that's that thoracotomy incision that was made at the hospital. Also in this picture, you can see one of the catheters, so a tube that's going into one of the blood vessels up here that was placed by the doctors at the hospital.
Okay. And was he clothed when he arrived to the office?
No.
And is that normal that they would?
It can be.
Now let's move on. What's the next thing that you do? Gone through the identification process. What's the next thing you do?
So for every case, and for cases where we're doing a full, what's called a full autopsy, meaning we're going to be examining the body both externally or on the outside as well as on the inside. So we start with what's called the external examination. That will also include taking photographs, as you can have seen already. And the photographs will depict any injuries that we see, any scars, tattoos, things like that. And then we will also, I will be documenting certain characteristics of the body. That would include the person's weight, the length. So we call height really a length because they're laying on a table, but it's still measured from top of head to heel. We will also describe the hair color, eye color, other marks and scars, things like that. Also, for cases of gunshot wounds, we will also, as part of this or before we do the internal examination, we will take x-rays. And that's because we want to see how many bullets or bullet fragments are in the body, as well as to help us as the pathologist to locate those bullets or fragments to recover for evidence.
Okay. And in this case, can you tell us what your external examination revealed?
Yeah, so just some of the characteristics of Mr. Goodson. He measured 74 inches in length and weighed 148 pounds. Other just notable findings, his dentition or teeth were in poor condition. He did, as far as marks and scars, he had various little, what we call hyperpigmented patches and scars that were nonspecific, no tattoos. And then, of course, the medical treatment is also documented in the external process as well.
And what is the next step that you do after that?
So in this case, there were also multiple gunshot wounds. And so for gunshot wounds, we are going to be measuring each wound. We are going to be measuring them not only just how big they are individually, but also we will measure like where they're located in the body. So that's typically from top of the head, as well as how far the wound is from the midline. And then I will document all of that as well, all those measurements, and get photographs of all of those wounds.
Okay. Now, do you, in this case, did you label the wounds, the front wounds as well as the back wounds that you felt were gunshot wounds?
Yes.
And I will publish, I want to show it to the gallery. I'm going to show you Exhibit 6O. And can you tell us what this is a photo of?
This is a photograph of Mr. Goodson. We're in particular looking at the mainly the left and front part of his chest. And you can see at the top of the screen is where his head is. Towards the bottom would be where his feet are. You can see the thoracotomy incision that's sutured on the left side of the chest that we spoke about before. And then here you can see labeled A, B, and C are 3 gunshot wounds. These are the exit wounds.
Okay. And did you also look for any other wounds?
Yes.
That would be to the back?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you State's Exhibit 6P. Okay. You could describe that for us.
This is a photograph of Mr. Goodson's backside. We can, just to orient, the top of the photo would be where his head would be, and then towards the bottom is where the feet would be. But we're seeing his back and then the upper part of his buttocks. And labeled D, E, F, G, H, and I are gunshot wounds, and these are the entrance gunshot wounds. In addition, there are smaller wounds on the back as well as the buttocks and the left upper arm. These are very superficial, meaning they just go into the soft tissues, but they don't enter the chest or abdominal cavities.
And how do you tell the difference between an exit wound and an entrance wound?
So entrance wounds, because of just the process of the bullet as it strikes the body, it's going to scrape the skin as it's going into and through the skin. And as a result of that scraping, it leaves what's called a marginal abrasion around the edges of the wound. So we look for those marginal abrasions. Typically also entrance gunshot wounds are going to be around to ovoid, and we can also look for anything like range of fire that might give us a clue, like soot or stippling. Otherwise, for exit wounds, they will not have that abrasion, that marginal abrasion, because as they're exiting the skin, they don't scrape the skin typically. And so those are the features that we're looking at to determine entrance and exit.
If I put the,
Turn off your phones.
it was mine, Your Honor. Oh, wow. Don't hold me in contempt, I'm sorry.
Lawyers.
I'm going to put back up 6-0,
Okay.
and I think you previously testified that these were the exit wounds, is that right? Oh, I'm sorry, I was going to put, I'll put the entrance wounds first. Okay.
Yes, this photograph is what we were just viewing. It's the entrance wounds.
Okay, and can you just tell us briefly how you know that they're the entrance wounds?
So all of these wounds have a round to ovoid appearance, and they have, you can see around them that marginal abrasion that I spoke about earlier. These are larger and have more irregular margins to them. So in my report, I described them as atypical entrance wounds because of that large and irregular nature of them. But also, in addition, we have the smaller fragment type defects around those. These features, to me, are consistent with the bullets going through what's called an intermediate target. So that could be either a wall, a door, glass, but basically the bullets are going through that object before they strike the body.
Okay. And if I might put back 6-0, and these would be, what are these?
These are the exit wounds. This is the photograph we viewed before, and the exit wounds are labeled A, B, and C. And they are all, on the left side of the chest.
And again, how do you determine those are the exit wounds?
So these are exit wounds because they do not have that marginal abrasion like the entrance wounds on the back.
Now, doctor, did you create any diagrams or anything that would show the entrance and exit wounds?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you what's marked as 6J. Can you identify that?
Yes, this is a diagram that I made in order to show the locations of the entrance and exit wounds, gunshot wounds.
What we've done is we've got, let me publish this up here. At some point, I'm going to do a side-by-side here, though. But we made just a bigger description of it, is that right? Can you explain to us your diagram?
Yes. So you can see this depicts the body and what we call the anatomic position. So basically, you can see on the front side of the body and with the anatomical position, the palms are forward facing. And then you can also see to the right is the back side of the body. And on the body, I've indicated using those same letters that were depicted in the photographs you all just saw, the entrance and exit wounds. So in this case, the exit wounds are depicted in a pink-red color, and you can see they're labeled A, B, C, whereas the entrance wounds are depicted in a blue color, and they're labeled D, E, F, G, H, and I. At the top left-hand corner of this diagram, I have just a little kind of a simplification of just showing which wounds go with, or which entrance wounds go with which exit wounds, or if an entrance wound goes to a bullet. So, which we will go over later.
Now, Doctor, you've labeled the gunshot wounds 1 through 6?
Yes.
Can you explain that's not in any particular order, right?
Correct. The order, so just because gunshot wound 1 is labeled as gunshot wound 1 does not indicate that it was the first gunshot wound. It's just for ordering purposes, I label them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Thank you. So the next part on your report would be evidence of injury?
Yes.
Okay, and can you explain to us what, you've got 6 listed gunshot wounds, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to number 1. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen what you found? Or what you
Yes, so gunshot wound 1, which I've labeled as gunshot wound of the midline, mid-back.
Jerry. Take off, she couldn't, she's using the pointer. No, leave that. She's using the laser to describe it. You put your notes on top of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so gunshot wound number 1 is gunshot wound of the midline, mid-back. And this corresponds, so the entrance wound corresponds to letter D in the diagram, which I am showing here. So this entrance wound is of the midline or mid-back at the posterior midline, and specifically it's at approximately 17 inches below the top of the head. Just going through the major findings of this gunshot wound, so the range was indeterminate, so meaning there was no evidence of close range. And then after the bullet entered the back, it went through the skin and soft tissues and injured the left ribs, and then the thoracic or 7th through 9th thoracic vertebra. Those are part of the spine, the bony, the backbone, and then also injured the left lung. Other findings associated with this gunshot wound, there was a left hemothorax, meaning there was blood in the chest cavity on the left side. So blood was around the left lung. There were additional vertebral fractures, so meaning breaks in the bones of the backbone as well. And then there were also hemorrhages or bleeding around the spinal cord in that area. So the spinal cord is located within your spine, so it's protected by the vertebra. And there were also petechial hemorrhages or pinpoint areas of bleeding of the spinal cord itself in that area. And also hemoaspiration. That means there was evidence of that he was breathing in blood. The bullet then exited the body And the exit wound is labeled A in the diagram. It's on the left side of the chest. And specifically, it's approximately 14¼ inches below the top of the head and 2¾ inches to the left of midline. And then from this pathway, there were projectile or bullet fragments that were recovered. Those were from the chest wall, soft tissues. The trajectory, so that means, for my report, the trajectory means the path or direction of the bullet through the body. And the trajectory for this gunshot wound was back to front, right to left, and upward.
Okay. And did you create some diagrams that would show the trajectories?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you 6I, or I'm sorry, 6LK. Do you recognize those?
Yes, these are the other diagrams that I constructed to show the trajectories.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of your drawings that you provided?
Yes,
And this is just a blow-up copy of it?
yes.
Going to show, first of all, 6K. Is that, I put that one up on the screen, and I think we've got 6L and 6J for everybody to see all three of them. You indicated you had determined a trajectory.
Yes.
And how do you determine a trajectory of bullets?
Right, so as part of the autopsy, as mentioned, I'm externally, I'm looking at the gunshot wounds, determining, from those characteristics of the wounds, which ones appear to be entrances versus exits. And then internally, as part of the exam, I'm going to be looking at all of the internal organs of the body. And during that evaluation, I'm going to be looking for injuries of those organs and tissues. And I will be then looking in relation to those entrance wounds and exit wounds to determine the path or what the pathway is of these gunshot wounds through the body.
And did you make that determination in gunshot?
Yes.
Could you explain to us what?
Yes. So again, the trajectory is just in 3D space. So back to front, right to left, and upward. And when I use these terms, I'm using them in relation to Mr. Goodson's right, Mr. Goodson's left. Upward means towards the head, downward would mean towards the feet. Front is, the front, and then the back would be towards his back. So in this case, these diagrams just help to illustrate with arrows the trajectory. And again, these are only the trajectories through the body. For gunshot wound 1, you can see the entrance wound was of the back, and it's exiting the left side of the chest. And so this is the upward trajectory seen. Whereas on the other views of the trajectories, you can see how the gunshot wound is going right to left. So again, it's going from Mr. Goodson's right to his left. And again, you can see that upward trajectory as well.
And you're talking about the right to left. Is that a slight right to left?
I don't describe it as slight in my report.
And so it's the upward trajectory. Which one shows the upward one? Which diagram?
So both will show the upward trajectory. You can see how gunshot wound 1 does slightly go up here. And then also you can see on this diagram, on the other diagram, that it's going upward.
So it's back to front, right to left, and upward.
Yes.
Was there anything notable about the injury to the spinal cord?
So while the bullet did not directly perforate or penetrate the spinal cord, there were hemorrhages or bleeding around the spinal cord, as well as little pinpoint areas of bleeding in the spinal cord tissue itself. And where the bullet struck the vertebra, the backbone, it was very close to the spinal cord because the spinal cord is running inside of that. And so as a result of this close proximity and the fractures of the vertebra, the shock wave of the bullet could have, at least temporarily caused paralysis of Mr. Goodson's lower legs,
Which would cause,
or legs, sorry. It would cause him to collapse or fall, in my opinion.
is that to a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
Yes.
Did you recover projectile fragments out of this?
Yes, I recovered fragments from the chest wall soft tissues on the left side.
Those were all packaged.
Yes, so we recover any bullets or fragments that are recovered are packaged and sealed and then submitted to the law enforcement agency that's investigating.
Did you move to gunshot number 2?
Sure, so gunshot wound number 2 is the gunshot wound to the mid-back. The entrance corresponds to, so the entrance wound corresponds to letter E on the diagram, and this is of the mid-back region.
To exhibit 6J.
Yes, sorry, 6J. And it's just to the left of midline. That location is approximately 19 and a half inches from the top of the head and 3/4 inch to the left of midline. The range of fire is indeterminate, meaning there was no evidence of close range. And then the injuries, so after the bullet entered the body or through the back, the bullet injured left-sided ribs, the 10th thoracic vertebra, so again, the backbone, then the left lung and the heart. These injuries also led to the left hemothorax, or contributed to the left hemothorax, that bleeding around the lung on the left side. As well as there were additional vertebral fractures, and again, hemorrhages or bleeding around the spinal cord, as well as hemoaspiration or evidence of breathing in blood. Then the bullet exited, and on diagram 6J, this corresponds to gunshot wound B, as in boy. And this exit wound was located on the left areola. That's the pigmented tissue around the nipple on the left side. Specifically, this wound was located approximately 18 and a half inches below the top of the head and 3 3/4 inches to the left of midline. For recovery, this goes along with gunshot wound 1. There was a fragment recovered from the left pleural or chest cavity. And since both of those gunshot wounds went through that area, I could not determine which gunshot wound it corresponded to. For trajectory, this was again back to front, right to left, and upward. And I will just point out on the diagrams. So on 6K, so we're looking at gunshot wound 2, which is labeled here on the diagram. And you can see that it's going back to front. And then upward, you can see on 6L the trajectory as well. And it's has that right to left trajectory that's more depicted on 6L.
So what part of the heart was damaged in this shot?
The left ventricle of the heart.
The left ventricle is the ventricle that actually what pumps out.
Yes, it is the major pump of the heart that's pumping the blood to the rest, to the aorta, which is the major artery or blood vessel of the body, and the aorta is what then helps deliver the blood to the rest of the body.
Now, you described the same damage around the spinal cord. Is that similar to the one that was in gunshot number 2?
Yes.
And would it cause the same results?
Yes, in my opinion, the shockwave would at least temporarily cause paralysis of his legs and then collapse or fall.
Was there anything else, any significance of gunshot number 2 that you?
No.
What recoveries did you receive from gunshot number 2?
That relates to the additional recovery section of my report. So again, there was a fragment recovered, a projectile fragment recovered in the left chest cavity, but because both gunshot wounds 1 and 2 went through that area, I could not determine if that fragment belonged to gunshot wound or 2.
All right, doctor, if I could direct your attention to gunshot number 3. Tell us about that.
All right, gunshot wound 3 is the gunshot wound of the left side of the back. And it's depicted with an entrance wound labeled F, which is on the left, on 6J, on the diagram 6J, the entrance wound is labeled F, and it's located on the left side of the back. The range of fire was indeterminate, meaning there's no evidence of close range. And for injuries, the bullet fractured left-sided ribs, but it did not actually enter the chest cavity on the left side. After it fractured in those ribs and went through the soft tissues of the left side of the chest, it exited via exit gunshot wound labeled C. And gunshot wound C is the exit wound that's located on the left lateral side of the chest. I'm going to point it out on 6J over here. Going back to, for the entrance wound, the location was 19 3/4 inches from the top of the head and 4 1/4 inches to the left of midline. The exit wound, labeled C, is 18 5/16 inches below the top of the head and 6 inches to the left of midline. For recovery, so I did recover a projectile fragment from the chest wall soft tissue on the left side. And the trajectory is back to front, slightly upward and slightly right to left, again, in relation to Mr. Goodson. And I will point out the trajectories here. So on 6K, gunshot wound 3, you can see the back to front. It's slightly going upward. On 6L, you can see, although it's hard to see here, but the gunshot wound 3 is exiting out C. So again, it's has the right to left trajectory.
Okay, doctor, we move to gunshot number 4.
Gunshot wound 4 is a tangential gunshot wound of the inferior or lower side, left side of the back. And in diagram 6J, it's labeled as G, letter G, and it's on the lower, again, lower left side of the back. By tangential, I mean that the wound was superficial, so the bullet struck more at a shallow angle against the body. And so you may have heard of things like a graze wound. Well, this is similar, except it's a bit deeper. So the bullet is not only scraping or injuring the skin, but it's also scraping and injuring the soft tissues that are just under the skin as well. This wound was located approximately 27.5 inches below the top of the head and 4.5 inches to the left of midline. And the range was also indeterminate. And again, the injuries were, as I said, skin and then the superficial soft tissues. This trajectory is also right to left and upward, which you can see depicted in 6K. And it does have a more marked upward trajectory, and also going back to front. And then also on, let's see, 6L, we have it going right to left.
And I'm sorry, did you give the location on that?
Yeah, yes, it's the lower left side of the back. And
As far as measurement?
yes.
That one seems to have a steeper trajectory than the rest of them, is that correct?
That one, as well as one of the upcoming.
All right. Let's go to the next gunshot wound, and that would be gunshot wound number 5.
Gunshot wound 5 is the gunshot wound of the inferior or lower right side of the back. In diagram 6J, the entrance wound is located on the lower right side of the back and is labeled H. Its measurement-wise it's located approximately 27.75 inches below the top of the head and 2.75 inches to the right of midline. Range was again indeterminate, and then the injuries, so the bullet, after it went into the back, it injured the 3rd through 5th lumbar vertebrae. These are the vertebrae that are on the lower part of the spine or the backbone. The bullet also injured the small bowel, the pancreas, the liver, the left hemidiaphragm, which just means the left side of the diaphragm, as well as the left lung. There were also hemorrhages or bleeding around the spinal cord, as well as hemorrhage or bleeding within the tissues around the right adrenal gland. That's an organ that sits above or on top of the kidney on the right side. And there was also focal gastric mucosal hemorrhage, so bleeding of the stomach lining, and intestinal leakage. So with the bowel being injured, the contents of the bowel leaked out into the abdominal cavity. And there was also a left rib fracture. Recovery-wise, there was a deformed projectile that was recovered just under the skin of the left side of the chest, as well as a fragment that was in the musculature or muscle tissue of the right pelvis. In this diagram, so there's no exit wound for this pathway. You can see, however, how I've depicted the trajectory. So in 6K, you can see it does have a marked upward trajectory. It's also going back to front. And then it's also going right to left, which you can see on 6L, with, again, the bullet coming to rest on the left side of the chest.
Now, you'd taken some x-rays of the body beforehand.
Yes.
And if I show you what's marked as I'm going to have to take this one off. State's Exhibit 6AA, are you able to see the projectile that you're talking about?
Yes, so the bullet that was recovered for this gunshot wound is located where my pointer is, to just orient. So this is what's called an anterior posterior x-ray, where the head is the top of the photo, and then towards the bottom would be where the feet are, but we are only seeing the torso and head and neck and arms in this x-ray. And so the bullet, you can see, is located on the left side of the chest. And again, this was actually just underneath the skin.
I'll show you, is it depicted in 6.0?
Yes. So this is a photograph we have seen before of the left side and part of the anterior chest on the left side as well, with the head towards the top of the screen, and then the feet would be towards the bottom. And in this photograph, you can see right where my pointer is on the left side of the chest, a little bump, and that's where the bullet is located. It's just under the skin.
Could I just go back to 6A? Maybe we'll go ahead and address it now, but go off. But there's a lot of little lit up things in there. Can you just maybe explain what those are?
Yes, so any bullet or projectile fragment is going to have a very bright white appearance. So you can see this is the rib cage. You see the ribs here. So I pointed out on the left side of the chest the bullet we just discussed, but there are other smaller fragments, mainly on the left side of the chest. There's a few scattered in the abdomen and pelvis region as well. And so the other fragments I have described before, a subset of those were also recovered.
So far, everything is traveling back to front, right to left, and upward. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the next one we are on is, I'm sorry, did you give the location of that one?
Yes.
And what was it again?
For gunshot wound 5, the entrance was inferior right side of the back, and it was located 27 3/4 inches below the top of the head and 2 3/4 inches to the right of midline.
All right, so let's move to gunshot number 6.
So gunshot wound 6 is the gunshot wound of the right buttock. And it is depicted on 6J as letter I. Again, it's the entrance wound is on the right buttock, labeled letter I. It is located approximately 33 1/4 inches below the top of the head and 3 inches to the right of midline. And the range is indeterminate. And for injuries, so the bullet, after it went through the skin of the right buttock, it injured the right ischial spine, which is a part of it's a bony projection of the pelvis on the back side of the pelvis on the right side, as well as it injured the small bowel and urinary bladder. Other findings were intestinal and urinary bladder leakage related to the injuries to the bowel and bladder. Recovery, there was a deformed projectile and projectile fragment, so bullet and bullet fragment, from the subcutaneous tissues of the left side of the abdomen. So this bullet and fragment were just under the skin on the left side of the abdomen. The trajectory, again, is back to front, right to left, and upward. So again, there's no exit wound in this case, but the trajectory on 6K, you can see is going back to front, it's going upward. And then on 6L, again, you can see depicted here that it's going upward and then also right to left.
And again, this projectile's depicted in the X-ray.
Yeah, yes.
I'm going to put 6AA back up on the screen.
So this is the X-ray again of that's showing the torso and head and neck and upper arms. But at the bottom of the photo, you can see this bright white object, and that is the bullet that I just mentioned on the left side of the abdomen.
You also took a photograph of it, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and 6Q.
So this is a very up-close photograph of his stomach. You can see his umbilicus or belly button where my pointer is located. But at the top of the, just to orient, the top of the photograph would be towards the head and the bottom of the photograph would be towards the feet. But this little bump that we're seeing with my pointer that's below the umbilicus towards the left, on the left side is the bullet that was just under the skin.
Doctor, have you described all the gunshot wounds that you saw?
Yes, the major ones, there were fragment type injuries of the back, which I touched on before. And I did recover small copper colored metallic fragments from a subset of those wounds.
And those were boxed up and I believe went to the firearms.
We submit to the investigating agency, but it may have ended up
Right.
there.
Now, I noticed that that the on 6K. Those appear to have, there's like 3 up in the mid-back area, and then we're dealing with the other gunshot wounds, GI and H. There's 2 of them there that are extremely going upward. Is that right?
Yes, so gunshot wound, you can see labeled G, so that's the 4th gunshot wound I described. That's the tangential wound of the left side, lower side of the back, as well as the gunshot wound labeled here H. You can see are also 5, so that's the gunshot wound of the lower right side of the back. Both of those do have a more upward trajectory compared to the other gunshot wounds.
At the time that those projectiles were shot, and the gun hadn't changed much position as far as up and down, is there anything you can is it consistent with him falling forward for those shots?
It could be, yes.
Or bending forward?
Yes.
I think the next thing that you had in your report was the additional recovery. Have we covered all those?
The only one I haven't touched on was there was a fragment, a projectile fragment in the body bag itself. So it was not in the body. It was actually just right sitting on top of the leg on the left side, but it was not in the skin. That was the other recovered projectile fragment.
Now, you also did an internal exam, is that correct?
Right, yes. So, talked about all the injuries of the organs, but as part of our routine autopsy procedure, I'm also looking at each organ for any other abnormalities like natural disease.
And why is that?
Well, it's a full autopsy, so even if there are injuries, we're still going to be looking at any natural disease. We also want to make sure there's not a competing cause of death, so we're going to be looking for any significant natural disease as well.
And did you find, were there any other internal findings of the organs or significant natural disease?
There's no significant natural disease.
Now, Doctor, there was one other thing. I kind of jumped ahead in the beginning because I'd handed you these photographs, but just for the record. You took close-up photographs of the entrance rooms and the exit rooms, is that correct?
Yes.
And the close-up photographs are labeled to reflect your like D to A, E to B, and so then we have D being an entrance room,
Yes.
okay, and then A being the exit room, is that correct?
Yes.
And the photographs that you previously identified, they've been labeled that way as well, is that right?
Yes.
And they would show the close-up as far as the abrasion that you're talking about.
The marginal abrasion of the entrance wounds, yes.
Doctor, was that the conclusion of your autopsy?
The only other part that we will always routinely do is collect bodily fluids, which include blood and urine, and those get sent to the toxicology lab for testing.
And was there anything else?
We did, this was the time of COVID pandemic, so we were screening all of our decedents for COVID at the time, and which is SARS-CoV-2, and it was not detected, so he was negative for COVID.
Hey, Doctor, all the projectiles in the recovery, they were boxed up and marked as evidence, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so we'll just briefly, we'll go through them. There's 6A and 6B.
Yes.
What are they?
So 6A is the projectile from the chest, and 6B is the projectile from the abdomen. The 6C is the fragment that was from the body bag, labeled fragment from external left leg. There are fragments from the back. 6D is fragments from the back, which relate to those small fragment type wounds in the back.
I'm going to hand you 6E and 6F.
6E is the additional fragments from the left upper chest, which correspond to gunshot wound 1. 6F is fragment from the left pleural cavity, which I mentioned could be from gunshot wound 1 or 2.
And here's G and H.
6G is fragment from right pelvis, which goes with gunshot wound 5, which is the right side of the back. 6H is fragment from left upper chest. That again corresponds to gunshot wound 1, which is the midline back.
6I.
6I is fragment from the lateral chest. That corresponds to the gunshot wound of the left side of the back, or the third.
When we say fragments, we're just talking about little pieces of.
Yes, yes.
Those appear to be the fragments that you recovered in this autopsy.
These are the boxes, but they do have all the labeling. I sign and date each box, and these are the labels that we use to label them.
Okay, Doctor, were you able to determine cause and manner of death?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the cause and manner of death?
So the cause of death was gunshot wounds of the torso, and manner of death was homicide.
And is that to a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
Yes.
Doctor, I don't have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Council want to approach?
Oh. Clear this up, okay? You know, when we were talking about distances, I think you've mentioned close range and intermediate. Can you describe, are you talking number of feet, or are you putting a distance to it? What's that mean?
So close range means so there was no evidence of close range for these wounds. What does that mean? So I did not see any soot or gunpowder stippling. So soot would be seen when the muzzle of the gun is very, very close to the body, to the skin. Usually it has to be within a few inches. And the soot is that black powdery material that comes from the burned gunpowder that exits the muzzle of the gun. Whereas stippling or gunpowder stippling are actually punctate abrasions of the skin around an entrance wound. That indicates that the muzzle of the gun was within a few feet of the body. Essentially, the unburned gunpowder particles will exit the muzzle of the gun, and they will strike the body around the entrance wound, and those don't wash away. So that indicates, again, that the muzzle, the end of the gun is within a few feet of the body.
Okay. And so just in conclusion, each one of these gunshot wounds were back to front, right to left, and upward.
Yes.
And what does indeterminate mean?
Indeterminate relates to the range. So because I did not see any soot or stippling, I have no evidence of close range, but because clothing, hair, things like that can block soot or stippling from occurring, we will label that as indeterminate range.
Which means you can't tell how far away the muzzle of the gun was from.
Correct.
Okay, no further questions, thank you. Let me clean this up here a second.
You guys want to approach? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our afternoon break. Do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form and express an opinion on the case until it is finally submitted. You have about 15 minutes.
All rise.
Pardon me? Yeah.
No, you can take them all with you. Posters.
Yeah.
You can step down if you want. Just leave everything there. He'll clean it up. seat, Doctor.
I hope I'm not talking too fast. Okay, good. It's a lot of medical terms. Yeah, I'm sure.
Back on the record, 21 CR 5052, State of Ohio versus Michael Jason Meade. We need to put anything on the record prior to bringing in the jury.
I don't believe so, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right, let's go to jury.
The chart's up there. I can use the chart. I can't use the chart.
All rise.
Everyone can have a seat. Any cross-examination on behalf of the defense?
May I inquire, Your Honor? Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Shepler, as you know, my name is Mark Collins, and along with Caitlin Stevens and Stephen Older, we represent Jason Meade. Good to see you again. Welcome back to Columbus.
Thank you.
We know each other. We've had cases, correct?
Yes.
You testified for some time, so if I can summarize, you're tasked with determining with a reasonable degree of medical certainty the cause and manner of death, correct?
Yes.
And to summarize, there were 6 entrance wounds that all started initially in the body, back to front, right to left, and upward, correct?
Yes.
Three exit wounds, and there were some projectiles found inside the body as well as fragmentation, correct?
Yes.
So the cause and manner of death that you determined was gunshots to the torso.
Yes.
Is that a fair summary of your last testimony with Mr. Schroyer?
Yes.
Now, the easy part, Doctor, is you know the questions I'm going to ask, and I know the answers you're going to give, correct?
Probably, yes.
You can't say any order of the wounds, correct?
I'm sorry, what was the
You
question?
can't determine the order of one of the wounds.
No, no.
And you cannot say where an individual was or how an individual was positioned when they received the entrance wounds, correct?
Correct.
And you can't say where somebody was, maybe who had the projectiles going forward, correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me that when a projectile, one of multiple projectiles, hits a body, that first projectile could have some effect in moving the body, correct?
In terms of the first, well, when you say first, what,
In general.
oh, in general.
In general, a projectile, the first projectile to get to the body, can in fact move the body, correct?
So it depends on what you mean by move, because when I'm looking at movement, it relates to what injuries were caused. So for example, if there's devastating injuries to the heart or catastrophic injuries to the heart or spinal cord that would cause someone to fall, collapse, then they will move.
I'm talking the initial impact into the body, okay, of the projectile. That can cause a body to react or move because of that aspect of entering the body, correct?
When you say react, do you mean because of physics, or do you mean because the person is feeling?
Because of physics, because when the projectile enters into the body. We talked about this before.
So, I don't know if we've talked about this in particular before, but essentially, it's not like Hollywood where someone shoots someone and they fly back 3 feet. I can't say, I'm not an expert in terms of what happens to the body when someone is shot, if they move or not. I'm seeing the body at autopsy when they've already passed away.
Okay, so wasn't my question. Do you remember we were together at a prior hearing, right?
Yes,
And I asked you the question, if something like into the heart, it can cause the body to react and move, and you answered correct.
yes, if it's a devastating injury to the heart, they could drop.
Then I asked you, and I said correct, and you said, that's correct, and I said, you can't say how much, and you can't say how little, but there would be some movement, correct?
Correct, if the heart is injured or a major internal injury is present.
Here, the heart was injured, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And I also asked you, that so each of the different wounds made by projectiles could cause the body to move in a different direction, and do you remember saying it's possible?
it's possible depending on injuries and whatnot, yes.
So, and I apologize if my question wasn't specific enough, but does that clear that up for you?
Yes,
Now, when you examine an entrance wound, you're trying to categorize it smooth versus regular, atypical, irregular, grazed, and tangential. Those are kind of the terms that you use, correct?
and yes, in general.
Okay. And atypical means not typical, right?
Right, yes.
And tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what a normal wound looks like. Just describe that.
Normal entrance wound. So a normal entrance wound would look like a round or ovoid wound, but in this case, in a typical wound, it would be much smaller than the ones that you were seeing previously, and would have a more smooth border usually, or margin.
And what's an irregular wound or an atypical wound?
So an atypical wound would mean, it's much larger, for an entrance wound, a much larger wound that might have a more irregular shape, as well as more irregular margin.
Okay. Now, in this situation, 5 of the 6 entrance wounds had, I think, what you called much larger and irregular entrance wounds, correct?
Yes, the one that was not described was the tangential.
And your belief that sometimes if something goes through an intermediary object, that can cause the projectile to wobble, and it makes the wound irregular or atypical.
Yes,
And that's what you're looking for when you see the stuff around the entrance wound.
it's what I'm thinking about, yes.
And here, 5 of the 6 had that, correct?
5 of 6 had it. The tangential wound, while not described as atypical, it's very wide, so much more wide wound than would be for a normal, if you want to say a normal tangential wound. So it is atypical in that sense, that it's wider, but yes.
And you mentioned a bunch of talk with Mr. Testimony with regards to fragmentation. Fragmentation can occur when it comes into contact with an intermediary object, right?
Yes,
A plastic, correct?
yes,
Metal, correct?
yes,
Glass can even cause, right?
yes,
Okay. And so when that goes through that, it causes the wobble, and that's what causes the irregular wound.
yes.
Now, fragmentation can occur before something gets to the body, correct?
In what way?
The intervening object could cause fragmentation itself.
Yes, the intervening object, yes.
And then also, once the projectile enters the body, it can fragment when it's in the body.
Yes, correct.
So fragmentation can happen before it gets to the body and then after.
Yes, correct.
And you can't determine or tell when it happened.
In this case, those superficial defects, those did not penetrate into the body. So those I can say are related to that intermediate object.
And then with regards to the soot and the stippling, if there's clothing on an individual, that can affect whether or not the soot or stippling gets onto the skin, correct?
Yes,
And did you examine any of the clothing to determine if there was soot or stippling or any high-powered marks or anything like that?
I did not receive clothing to examine.
But normally that could show up on clothing. That could be a barrier.
Yes, it could be.
Now, part of the full autopsy is also a toxicology report, right?
Yes,
And that's always attached to the report. It indicates what's in the person's system and things of that nature, correct?
yes.
Now, in general, well, let's not say in general. In this case, all right, with regards to item 9, you talked a bunch about additional bullet fragmentation, right?
Item 7?
No, just in general.
Oh, in general, oh, sorry.
In your report, just go to page 6, item 9. How's that?
Page 6.
Just to give an example.
Okay,
Okay. In that situation, okay, that was an additional recovery of bullet fragmentation, right?
yes,
And it's hard to tell from which gunshot wound or entrance wound of the fragment. It couldn't be determined in that situation, right?
correct.
And that's not uncommon, right?
Right, if a bullet fragments extensively, that can cause problems with figuring out if there are multiple gunshot wounds.
And then you went ahead and labeled the entrance wounds one for one thing and then the exit wounds the other, right?
Yes,
And part of your task is to determine the entrance wound, the initial path, right?
yes,
Sometimes you feel your way through there, right? With device and stuff, or look through there.
right, we can use probes and things, yes.
And then, so that's what you're trying to figure out.
The pathways, yes,
Okay. And in this situation, I think you indicated that he was 74 inches, so 6'2", right?
yes,
And here, there were a couple trajectories that were a little bit more slightly, or a little bit more upward than the others, correct?
correct.
Okay. Now, you used the term homicide with Mr. Schroyer. Homicide is a forensic medical term, correct?
It is, yes.
There's no legal connotation to that.
No,
Okay, all right. Now, I want to talk about those entrance and the paths and things that can be, multiple things can be consistent with one another, be true, depending on the scenario. Make sense?
yes.
Your Honor, with your permission, may I have Dr. Scheffler step down as well as Mr. Nolder? I need a dummy, and Steve's volunteered to be the dummy today, if that's okay.
No comment?
No comment.
And Doctor, you may need to, if need be, maybe if you need to reflect. No. Okay. So we're talking about, can you guys see? Okay. Yeah. We're talking about the anatomically correct person. You mentioned that on direct, right? And that came from the Da Vinci thing. And so Mr. Nolder standing like this, perfectly straight, is how, with the hands out, see? That's the model that you use. That's how you take all your measurements, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if you had an entrance wound that was right in the center, right? And it went straight through, hypothetically, didn't hit anything, it would be back to front. And let's say there was no upward departure or downward departure, it would be straight through, correct?
Correct.
Make sense? So it would be back to front, flat, and straight through.
Yes.
Make sense? Okay, now, however, if the person, so that would mean that this point right here, the spine of the back, where that is, that would mean that where this, the entrance right there is that. But if Mr. Nolder turned to the right, that would mean it could come from that direction. And it would still give you back to front and straight,
When you say come from that direction?
right where my finger is.
Yes,
Right.
as long as you're changing.
As long as he
Yeah.
changed. So that
And you're changing,
is
sure.
still back to front and flat.
So as long as you are also changing, right?
Absolutely.
You have to be,
Absolutely.
where
yes.
the relationships stay the
It
same.
can't go ooh, like that. Okay, but, and again, if he's perfectly anatomically correct, that's back to front, flat, with, straight through.
Yes,
Make sense?
yes.
Okay. All of these 6 entrance wounds were back to front, right to left, and upward.
Yes.
Okay. Now, using this, I want to have you, let's just, tell me where you want me to put sticker one to represent one there.
Okay. And just, since I don't have any measurement tools and he's
No.
not the same height, we have to.
Assume he's close to
take
60.
into
Yeah,
account.
no, these are just approximate. These are just approximate.
So,
Where would you like me to put them?
all right, okay. So are you trying to do like the entrance wound?
Yes, sir,
Oh,
only the
okay.
entrance. Yes, doctor, I called you.
So that would be letter D, so we put that in the middle here. We'll go there.
We're just getting, there you go, perfect, okay. And number 2?
We will do just to the left.
Stephen, can I get some help? My fingers, if you would. And where would you like number 2?
So just below that, just to the left.
Is that good? Okay. And 3?
3 is gonna go a little below, but more.
Good?
That's fine.
Okay.
And again,
And
these are
again,
not.
These are approximates.
These are,
Here, she was, you cut her off, Mark.
I apologize, Doctor.
they are approximate, so, because I do not have any measuring.
Number 4?
All right, so now we'll do basically kind of like here. Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
I don't know where his hips are. You bend? Okay, that's probably good. Okay.
And number 5?
5 we'll do basically yeah here.
Okay. And 6?
6 will be
Right on the butt. And I'll take care of that. Right there, good?
yes.
Okay.
that's,
And again,
again, approximate.
approximates. Okay. So again, if someone, if the person was right here, okay, if anatomically correct, number 6 is right to left angle.
Yes, if this is where
Absolutely.
the
Yeah,
direction of
the projectile's coming in here, right? And it's back to front, and it's slightly upward, okay? Now, if Mr. Nolder turned to the right, that's good, okay? Then it's still back to front, right to left, and now the projectile will be coming this way, correct? Okay, and, all right, now, same thing for 5, back to front, right to left.
you know, this is not as much.
Okay, you're the boss,
Yeah.
wherever you say. So this is right to left, back to front, and slightly upward more. Good,
Are we trying to show
Whatever-
these
whatever,
exactly? Okay,
as best you can, there you go.
yeah. So it would, this 5 has a more upward trajectory.
Perfect. And now I'm gonna try to hold that there. Now, if he was turned to the right, keep going, Mr. Nolan, keep going. All right, now, that would still give you a back to front, right to left, and upward trajectory.
Yes, we're moving, but yes,
Yes, moving,
Yeah.
but the projectile would have to come from there, not over there,
right.
okay? All right.
Well, you could actually be coming from over here, in theory, right?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Still, right to left, upward, back to front. That's consistent.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we'll go to number 4. I think. So, where would you like to?
So this was that tangential I'm showing. So it's really a very shallow wound, but it has a more upward trajectory as well.
Back to front?
It's kind of on, yeah, it's mostly upward and mostly.
Left to
and
left.
also right to left.
Okay, so, and again, if he's turned, again, the projectile could be coming from this way, correct?
You
It would
still
be
have to
consistent
little
with
bit- You'd still have to be a little bit turned to get.
Right. So if he's not turned, it's still back to front, right to left, and upward. And that's the same for all of these, correct?
Again, it depends, yes, I mean, we can go through them, but if. I think
We'll do it,
okay.
just so we're clear, okay? We'll do number 3 now. You
Okay.
place it where you'd like.
All right, 3.
Everybody see?
Give me 1 second. So again, this one, all of them are back to front, right to left, and this one's a little more slightly upward. So I would say kind of like this.
So in this one, again, the projectile, if the projectile was coming this way, it would mean the person was over here, correct?
Yes.
Now, if it's turned, come with me, all right? Back to front, right to left, and upward. Now, the person could be here. It would still give you the consistent things.
Right. We're changing both.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
to get the same
correct,
pathway.
correct. And we have to do 2 and 1?
I think we've made the point.
All right, same thing, okay?
Yeah, so we're both, yes, you have to keep, the relationships have to stay the same, but there are multiple different positions
That can be correct.
that can be correct.
And before he sits down, you can't tell when you analyze the entrance wounds and you're trying to determine the trajectory if the person is squatted down, squat down, if the person is bent over, because anything could change that, correct?
It could, yes.
All right, so you're not, that's not your job to determine that situation. But all of these are right to left, upward, back to front. And depending on where you change this anatomically correct person, they would all be consistent with that.
Yes.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Anything else? I'm sorry, Jim. Let me just check my notes, Your Honor. Dr. Shepler, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you. Appreciate you.
Any redirect?
Dr. Shepler, you can only tell the trajectory from where it goes through the body, is that right?
Right.
You don't determine trajectory where the bullets are traveling from.
I cannot tell where, yeah, I cannot tell you the position of the shooter or the decedent, because there are multiple different scenarios that could be consistent with what I'm seeing, which is the trajectory through the body.
So when they have their turning, that doesn't mean the body's turning. You can't make any determination whether the body was turning or not turning at the time that he was shot.
Correct, I cannot tell if that person is moving or if the shooter is moving. It could be, either one can move, and I would not be able to tell that.
That's beyond what you do.
Correct, yes.
I don't have anything further. Thank you very much.
Doctors, to be clear, when you first start with the entrance wound and you put something in, you can tell if the entrance wound is right to left, back to front, and upward, right?
Yes,
Okay. If it was going the direct opposite way, you'd say that, right?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you can take all your stuff with you. Any further witnesses on behalf of the state?
Just give me a moment.
Mr. Noldor, you can take all those things off your back.
I didn't want to interrupt. I'll remain seated.
Afternoon. You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury your testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. Pull yourself up close to the microphone. And you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name
Arthur Hughes.
and what's your occupation?
I'm an officer with Columbus Division of Police.
How long have you been a officer with Columbus?
It's my 32nd year.
And what divisions have you been assigned to during your career?
Patrol, Detective Bureau, and SWAT.
And what's your current position?
I work major case investigations team, which we investigate older homicide cases along with other serial cases that take place, which also entails police-involved situations.
All right. Were you back in December 4th of 2020, what division were you in?
Homicide.
And was there a sub-department of the homicide squad that you also participated in?
The critical incident response team, CERT.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what is that also called CERT?
CERT, yeah.
Could you explain to them what CERT is?
We investigate police-involved incidents where there's death or serious physical injury resulted in contact with the police. Incidents involving injury to police officers or death of police officers. Incident involving other jurisdictions, like use of firearm within our jurisdiction. That also includes Columbus Police, or Columbus Fire Department as well, their investigators.
So, homicide, CERT, is basically your duties as an investigator the same?
Essentially, yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, one, we investigate homicides, another one, we investigate police-involved incidents, just like I explained.
So were you, so as part of the search squad, okay, what is it that you say? You say you gather all types of evidence,
Our responsibilities?
responsibilities?
So what happens, we'll have a call out, it's usually by a supervisor. We respond to the scene. At the scene, we ensure that the scene is secure. Witnesses are separated. That would include civilian witnesses along with police officers. We do a debrief with usually a patrol supervisor. From that point, our sergeant at that time would assign responsibilities to the detectives that responded to the scene.
And in this occasion, December 4th of 2020, were you called out?
Yes, I was.
And tell us about that.
So at that time, I worked third shift. It was on a Friday. It was my day off. I got contacted by our secretary in the office and was advised to respond to 3996 Estates Place on an incident involving a police shooting.
And who else was assembled at that time?
The other investigators would have been Eric Wooten, Greg Shepard, Detective Bill Gillette, Detective Tim Mounts, Sergeant Pilia, and Sergeant McConnell.
So when you show up on a police officer-related shooting, it sounds like it's a team effort of investigating.
That's right.
And do they give you assignments?
Yes,
Who decides the assignments?
the supervisor, the sergeant.
In this case, it was Sergeant Pilia.
Yes.
Okay. And what assignment did you receive?
So I responded to the scene, like I said, from home. It took me a couple hours to get there. By the time I got there, the assignment's already been given out to other detectives, and I was advised at that time I'd be the lead investigator.
And what are the duties of the lead investigator?
To make contact with other detectives and gather information they obtained through their investigation into the incident.
So are you kind of directing them as to what to do?
Kind of collecting information as it comes in.
So what type of assignments are given to the other investigators?
It could be various things. It could be a canvas of the scene, checking the area for surveillance footage, responding to the hospital if necessary, interviewing witnesses and officers.
Okay. And after this information is gathered, they're gathered up, whatever they've been assigned to, what do they do with that information?
That information is filtered down to me.
So eventually, everything comes down to you,
Yes.
and then you do what with it?
Well, I conduct my investigation and put the information together.
Let me just ask you, what type of evidence in a cert case do you look for?
Well, it's going to change. I mean, the scenarios are going to be different. Evidence, surveillance footage, ring camera footage, it's in a neighborhood. Business, surveillance footage.
Body-worn cameras,
Body-worn cameras, yes, or cruiser video.
along with anything from crime scene?
Yes, whatever they collect and obtain during their search of either, well, obviously just the scene.
Photographs and everything along those.
Yes.
So let me, on this particular day, when you arrived at the scene, did you know anything as to what had taken place?
Initially, no. I mean, as the information came in, it was gathered and put together.
Did you end up getting a lot of body cam footage out of this?
Yes.
Okay. And was that your responsibility then to look at it all?
Yes.
And how many, was there a lot of officers on the scene?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Now, did Mr. Meade or the SOFAS team did they have any body cams?
No, sir.
So there were some officers on the scene that didn't have them.
That's correct.
Are most of the body cams from uniform officers
Yes.
that arrived in response to an officer-related shooting?
Yes.
And I assume there were a lot of them that showed up.
There's quite a few.
Did you receive a body cam footage from an officer, Penny?
Yes, from Minerva Park.
Yeah, well, tell us about that.
Well, obviously, we identified the officers that had seen, and Officer Penny was one of them. So I made contact with Minerva Park Police Department and obtained footage from his body-worn camera.
And when you're going through and looking at everything, are you looking at all the different body cams, looking for something that you think may be of evidentiary value to the case?
Yeah, looking for anything that might be missed on conversations, statements made.
Okay, and was there something on Officer Penny's that you saw?
Yes.
Okay, and can you explain to us what was that?
There was a conversation on the front porch of 3996 between Deputy Meade and two other officers.
Okay, I'm going to play the. Okay. Sorry about that. Keep watching. Yes, please. Sounds. We're gonna have to back it up. Okay.
What do you got?
The house is
Yeah, I got it.
They're getting the basement finished right now, and then we need medics to come up.
Medics!
Bring the medics up,
I missed the call.
It's okay, man. There's only fucking Marshall's channel on board. And I had a man there with us.
Okay. No shots fired.
You didn't do nothing.
Ma'am, you need to wait.
No shots fired.
No. They're saying that it's their nephew. He came out the street, gun in his hand, going to the side door, pulling in with a gun.
You guys were pulling out?
Yes, as I was pulling up.
Yeah, Joey asked for us to go.
Doing this. Who's in charge here? I was one that was on the scene. I was one of the initiator.
Now, back it up a little bit, Tim. The person that was in the doorway, do you know who that was?
Officer Yorkowitz?
Okay, and he was with the SOFAS team?
Yes.
Okay. And the other guy with the hat?
Officer Phillips?
Officer Phillips. And then we all obviously know Officer Penny was wearing the body cam.
That's correct.
Then Mr. Meade was in the uniform.
Yes. Yes.
We know SOFAS does not have body cams, is that right?
That's right.
And neither did Mr. Phillips, Officer Phillips.
No.
It's quite apparent that Mr. Meade would have realized that there wasn't body cam footage with those two individuals.
As to what Mr. Meade would have realized.
Good, this thing calls for speculation.
Well, he was on the
Ask a
SOFAS.
different question.
Okay, he was on the SOFAS team, correct?
Yes.
So he would have known SOFAS doesn't.
Same as to speculation as to what the defendant knew.
SOFAS members did not have body cams, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, what was it that was said on that porch that caught your attention?
That he went to the house with a gun in his hand?
Did he mention anything about any threats?
No.
Did he mention that somebody pointed a gun?
No.
Did he mention that he had been, he'd been threatened or afraid?
No.
Did you find, so you flagged that saying, hey, that's something that of some type of evidentiary value here, is that right?
That's correct.
And is it for those reasons?
Yes.
Now, want to talk to you more about it when you were at the scene. There, you learned and learned that there were some AirPods that were left behind. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you eventually ended up recovering those.
That's correct.
And I just want to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 7. I don't know if you want to draw this one.
We have more, don't worry about them.
No, they're just a little small.
I guess, do you recognize State's Exhibit number 7 as the AirPods that were collected by you?
That's correct.
How'd they get into your possession?
Employee with the Department of Justice, Mitch Seckman, he obtained them. And
Go ahead.
it was given to him by the family's attorney, Mr. Walton.
And you collected them and then turned them into the property?
Yes, I did.
Now, during the investigation, you said that you're also looking for any other type of video evidence, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what other video evidence do you look for?
Canvassed the area of Ferris, made contact with the church, St. Matthias Church. I can't,
Why did you pick the church to make contact with?
thank you. I'm sorry.
Why the church?
It was on Ferris and right there at Carl Road, and they had cameras on the outside.
Okay, and so did you, what made you think that there might be some type of evidence there?
Well, there was indication that something took place at the intersection there, Carl and Ferris.
And at this time, was the FBI involved in the investigation?
Yeah, this was the following week, and it became a joint investigation with the FBI.
And did you guys, did you welcome that?
Yes, absolutely. Any help's appreciated.
You're not only working this, but you're also working other homicides, is that correct?
Yes, work continues, yeah.
So tell me what, did you obtain the video from St. Matthias?
Yes.
Did you obtain any type of ring videos or anything else?
No, at the time, I did a ring notification sign on their app and put a notification out to the neighborhood if anybody had any video to contact me at the Columbus Police. And we also did an additional canvas, another canvas over the area, looking for additional video, and none were obtained.
And once obtaining the St. Matthias church surveillance videos, were there 2 cameras?
Yes.
And can you tell us which directions they're facing?
One camera is facing southwest, the other one is southeast.
Southwest would be towards,
The intersection of Ferris and Carl Road.
okay, and the other one would be,
Ferris and Estates Place.
did you watch that video?
I did.
Okay, and did you see anything on that video that you felt was of evidentiary value?
Yes.
And what was that?
You could see Deputy Meade, along with the other responding officers, approach the intersection of Carl Road going westbound on Ferris. As he approaches the intersection, you can see Casey Goodson in his black Nissan Versa going southbound and immediately make a left turn eastbound on Ferris.
Now, at this point in the investigation, did you know anything that something had taken place at the intersection?
Something taking place, I don't, at that time, I don't believe I did know anything about that, no.
So what did you know, you think, at this point in time about whether Mr. Meade's position or what he claims happened?
That he saw a gun, yeah.
And that's, and then after obtaining this video, did you collect it?
Yes, absolutely.
And because it showed both the Sofast trucks and it showed Casey Goodson's vehicle.
Yes.
What's, eventually, I think about on January 4th, you did receive a statement from Mr. Meade, is that correct?
I did.
Okay, and how did that come about?
It was an email forwarded me from my sergeant, would have been Sergeant Pilia, and that would have been an email with a statement forwarded to him by our Deputy Meade's attorney.
Okay. And do you remember who sent it to you?
Sergeant Pilia sent it to me.
I'm sorry, it's over here. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 27A. Tell us what that is.
It's a copy of the email header from Sergeant Eric Pilia to me. And it was, I'm sorry, it's actually from Lathan Upperman to Sergeant Pilia.
And who's Lathan? Who's Mr. Lathan?
He's an attorney for the FOP.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 27. Identify that.
This is the statement from Deputy Meade.
Well, let's talk about that. What's it say at the top?
State's Exhibit 27.
No, I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. Statement of Deputy Meade, Michael Jason Meade, badge number 1027.
And it's a typed statement.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and how many pages?
10, I believe. Yes, 10.
And was it signed at the end of the statement?
Yes, it is.
And was it dated?
Dated? No.
When you got the statement, what did you do?
I read it right away.
And did you just sit down and read it all the way through, or did you take notes while you were doing it?
I read it all the way through.
And let's, if we could, when to, may I publish? Guys, we put on the screen here. We're going to go through a statement. Okay, Detective. You see at the top, it's Statement of Deputy Meade, badge number 1027.
Yes.
Did you have any reason to not believe that this was his statement?
No.
And this was on January 4th, about 30 days after the incident.
Yes.
And at this point in time, all you knew about the investigation was, there's the statement made on the porch
Yes.
by Mr. Meade. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
You knew about the coroner findings.
Yes.
You knew about witnesses that had been interviewed by the team,
Yes.
other officers that may have been there so fast,
Yes.
right? And you also had the St. Matthias videotape.
That's correct.
And did you divulge, or did anybody divulge that to the public?
No.
Would Mr. Meade know what you would have had in your investigative file?
No.
Would he have known that you had the St. Matthias video?
No.
So let's, I'm gonna have you read through the statement, okay, that they get. Would you start with the first paragraph?
This statement is regarding my involvement in an incident that occurred on Friday, December 4th, 2020, between approximately 12:10 and 12:20 p.m. I am voluntarily making this statement as part of the investigation concerning this matter.
Okay. Let's go to the next paragraph.
My date of hire with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, September 8th, 2003. My regular assignment is Special Weapons and Tactics, which is SWAT, A Company. My regular duty hours in that assignment are 6 a.m. until 2 p.m., with Saturday and Sunday off. Since May of 2017, I've also been assigned to the United States Marshal Service Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Strike Team, SOFAST. However, I have the same duty hours and same days off as my regular SWAT assignment. SOFAST is a multi-jurisdictional division within the U.S. Marshal Service dedicated to apprehending fugitives, typically those alleged to have committed violent crimes and or felonies. I work on the SOFAST task force unless I am needed by the Franklin County Sheriff's Office SWAT team for a barricade and or hostage situations for a scheduled training training.
Okay. So you learned something, a little bit of something about him, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that, you know, I think you may have already known it, but he was on SWAT,
Yes.
okay? And that he was on the Marshals Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Team, you already knew that,
Yes.
okay? And his duty hours, and that what he does at the SWAT, or at the SOFAST,
Yes.
correct? Okay, so you didn't learn anything new there?
No.
Okay, let's go to the next paragraph.
Prior to joining Franklin County Sheriff's Office, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in August of 2000. As part of my enlistment, I received extensive training in marksmanship, infantry school, and machine gunner school. I was deployed in Iraq in 2005, concurrent with my employment with the Franklin County Sheriff's
You
Office.
want to move the thing up to,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just agreed to, okay?
While serving in Iraq, I completed 11 combat operations. I continued training once I returned to the United States until my enlistment ended in 2008.
Okay. Now, that paragraph, detective, did that give you some little insight as to his familiarity maybe with automatic weapons?
Yes,
Okay. And you know, in this case, that was another thing that you knew, was that the weapon that was used was a Daniel Defense weapon.
yes,
And that could be shot in semi, we heard from the firearms expert, maybe in semi mode or full auto.
that's correct.
Okay. At this time, did you know what mode that gun was in?
No,
When it was fired? Okay. But it looks like, at least from his statement, that he's very well trained in those types of weapons. He says he was trained in marksmanship, infantry school, and machine gunner school.
yes, sir,
And SWAT uses those weapons as well, correct?
that's correct.
Okay, let's go to the next paragraph.
At the time of this incident, I was wearing olive green pants, black boots, and a gray-black ball cap, and a black pullover sweater with a neon green stripe on the sleeves. I was also wearing a black tactical vest. The front of the vest displayed a patch of my badge stating United States Marshal. Displayed in large, bold print, on the front and the back of the vest are the words U.S. Marshals and U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, respectively.
Okay, and so there's nothing new that you learned from that?
No,
Okay.
no,
Because you had already taken pictures of him, you already knew what he was wearing. So he's not provided you.
Objection, Your
is
Honor,
the-
leading.
That's not leading.
Overruled.
He's not provided you any information that you didn't already know.
Objection, Your Honor. How would he know if Mr. Hughes knows that, Your Honor? That's the whole point of the leading question.
Just ask a direct examination question. Did the
Did
state?
you learn anything new from that?
no.
Let's go to the next paragraph.
I was carrying my Franklin County Sheriff's Office issued Select Fire Daniel Defense .556 M4 rifle, equipped with an aim-point red dot sight. The rifle is loaded with Franklin County Sheriff's Office issued Hornady tap ammunition. I was range qualified with the rifle. I was not carrying a backup firearm at the time of the incident. I did not have a partner. I was driving my Marshall issued unmarked magnetic gray F-150 pickup truck.
Okay. Was this the information that you wanted from him?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you learn anything new?
Objection, Your Honor. Same
From-
objection that you just sustained at the.
Oh, did he learn anything new as a result?
Did you learn anything new out of this?
No,
Okay. Now, let me ask you, you were in SWAT, right?
briefly.
Okay. And you used, you know about the Hornady tap ammunition,
Yes.
okay? What is that?
It's a high-performance round. It's designed to expand its energy upon impact and also to reduce collateral damage or fatalities to anybody else other than the intended target.
Because it doesn't pass all the way through. So
That's correct.
it's designed to be that way. So
Yes.
Tell us when I say designed to be that way, what happens to the bullet when it hits?
Usually fragments.
And that's even, in your years of homicide and been to homicide scenes and everything, you know this, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if it hits a body, it's still fragments, correct?
Yes.
And have you ever been to a scene where it's passed through somebody or an enemy area? What happens to the flight of those bullets?
The trajectory can change.
And have you seen that in the past?
Yes, several times.
So it's not going straight. You have no idea where they end up.
No.
All right, let's go to the next paragraph.
I have good hearing and do not need hearing aids. I received LASIK eye surgery a few years ago, so I have excellent vision. I do not need prescription corrective lenses. I was not taking a prescription or over-the-counter medications that could impair my performance of my duties. I did not consume alcohol or work any special duty in 24 hours before my shift began. I arrived at my shift well rested and in good health.
Okay. And I guess from there, we learned that he was in good health and he hadn't consumed any alcohol, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Shortly before noon on December 4th, 2020, I and several SOFAST members attempt to execute a routine arrest warrant. Since joining SOFAST in 2017, I have helped execute hundreds of arrest warrants. In most cases, the suspect is not found in the first location we search. Often, several locations are searched over the time until we apprehend the suspect.
So at this point in time, at least with his statement, he's given a lot of background information, stuff that the SOFAST, what he does at SOFAST. Did you learn anything from that?
No.
And this is what you're doing, isn't it, as a lead investigator, You're looking for evidence to try to determine what?
What happened? Yeah.
And, okay, let's go further.
On this day, our team received information that a fugitive, Kendall Barber, might be at his mother's house at 4071 Estates Place, located in a residential neighborhood in northeast Columbus. Mr. Barber was wanted on a felony drug trafficking warrant. About 12 SOFAST members, including Columbus Division of Police CPD Officer Ryan Rosser and Joseph Yorkowitz, a probation officer with Adult Parole Authority, plus several members of SOFAST SWAT team assisted in executing the warrant. Mr. Barber's mother, who was quite cordial and cooperative, told us her son was not in the house. She also allowed us to search the residence. I cleared and searched the house with other officers, but we did not find Mr. Barber.
Okay. Were you already aware of that information?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the next paragraph.
After the search was complete, Deputy U.S. Marshal Youngless, who was my direct supervisor and SOFAST team leader, told SOFAST members to return to our office in downtown Columbus. As officers returned to headquarters, I spoke with Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz outside the residence for several minutes. Once most officers had left, I loaded my tactical vest, pistol belt, and handgun into a vault inside my truck bed, the truck bed of my F-150, and placed my rifle in the back seat.
Okay. Anything new about that?
No.
Okay. Go next.
I drove from the residence northbound on Estates Place, followed by Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz in an unmarked black Dodge Ram. I turned west onto Ferris Road, drove about 100 yards, and then stopped at a red light at the intersection of Ferris Road and Carl Road.
Okay. Now, you were aware of that, is that right?
Yes,
That's because you had the video.
that's correct.
So, all right. And did you see when he was first pulling up to that red light in the video?
Yes.
All right. You continue on, please.
The first in line of cars, I saw Officer Rosser's truck, one or two vehicles behind mine at the light. I looked right north to ensure the road was clear and saw a dark colored hatchback driving southbound on Carl Road.
Okay, go. Wait. Go ahead. That vehicle.
The vehicle approached the intersection in the left-hand lane, signaling that he was turning left, east on the Ferris Road.
Okay. So in that, did you were aware of that as well?
Yes.
So far, nothing is raised any type of red flag for you.
Can objection on
that right?
categorization.
Read the statement without the commentary.
Okay, let's go to, if you wait 1 second, let's go to the next paragraph here. Okay?
Proceed.
Yes, please.
The vehicle stopped, waited for the northbound traffic to clear, and as it did,
Stop, right there.
okay,
When you read that, did that match up with the evidence that you had?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Did that match up, that's,
Just keep
did that
Overruled.
match up with the evidence that you had already obtained in this case?
no,
Okay, what do you mean? No, let's back up. The vehicle stopped. Okay, he's referring to the black hatchback would be Casey Goodson's vehicle, is that right?
that's correct.
Okay, read the next portion.
And as it did, I saw the driver had a,
Back up. To wait,
I'm sorry. Where at?
just start over on that sentence.
The vehicle stopped to wait?
The vehicle stopped, it didn't stop, did it?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
For the northbound traffic to clear,
Stop there. Was there northbound traffic when Casey was in the intersection?
no.
Okay. Go ahead.
And as it did, so I saw the driver had a black handgun with an extended magazine in his right hand.
Okay, let's stop there. So I asked you if Deputy, or if Mr. Meade would have had any knowledge about the investigation. You did recover a gun at the scene, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it was a black 45.
Smith & Wesson 45, yes.
And what type of clip or magazine did it have?
It had a regular magazine with probably an inch or so.
Do you
Extension.
characterize that as a extended clip?
objection.
Overruled if he does.
I wouldn't know.
So that was collected, right?
Yes,
And Mr. Meade would have known about that gun because he was there in the house.
Objection, Your Honor.
Right?
Sustained, calls for speculation as to what Mr. Meade would have known.
Would Mr. Meade have seen the gun?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained, calls for speculation as to what Mr. Meade.
Do you know whether or not Mr. Meade was ever in the house?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled as that.
yes.
And, all right, let's move forward, okay? Hold on, let me. All right, go to the, just read a little portion of that sentence there, okay?
The next sentence?
Now, what's he referring to here is what?
Objection, Your Honor.
That's not,
You can't speculate as to what he's referring to. Only Mr. Meade can.
He can,
I said,
counsel approach.
okay, detective, the next sentence starting with he had.
He had the gun raised above the steering wheel, held sideways, i.e. palm down.
Okay, did that happen?
Objection.
From what you saw in the video?
Overruled.
Could you say that that happened from what you watched in the video? While stopped?
I couldn't tell through the video now.
Pardon me?
Did he stop? No.
And he's saying this happened while he stopped?
Yes.
No, that's not what he said, Your Honor. That's not what.
I'm reading it.
said.
Go ahead.
No.
Read this.
What do you want him to do, Mr. Schwer? Read it?
He wants him to give his closing argument, Your Honor. That's what he's trying to do.
Okay, everyone, just read what the statement provides.
Back up to he had the gun raised.
He had the gun raised above the steering wheel, held sideways, i.e. palm down, aimed toward the windshield. He was repeatedly straightening his arm forward such that he was pumping the gun toward the windshield and pulling it back. He also appeared to be yelling as he pumped the gun, but I could not tell what, if anything, he was saying. A car traveled northbound on Carl Road, approached the intersection, and the individual aimed a gun at the driver of the car. Then the individual tracked the driver with his gun as the car traveled north. But I did not see whether the driver reacted to the gun. I quickly grabbed my radio and aired words to the effect, quote, "Hey guys, if you're still on here, we have a guy waving a gun here at the intersection of Carl Road," unquote. An officer, who I believe was Marshal Youngless, radioed in response and asked for my location, which I gave.
Okay. Upon reading that, what did you do?
What?
Upon reading that, had you reviewed the video?
Yes.
And did you come to a conclusion whether it matches what's on the video?
It didn't match the video, no.
Excuse me? What's the question?
Was that on the video?
He wasn't at the scene. He can testify. I didn't see it on the video, correct, Detective Hughes?
Yeah, I didn't see it on the video.
Pardon me?
Okay. Did I see it on the video or did I not see it on the video? Is that the question?
No, I was asking, you compared this to the evidence that you had.
The video, yes.
And is this consistent with what you saw, what the video depicted?
No.
All right. Let's take a look at the video. Okay, can you see the truck in the blue circle? Stop a second. Back it up.
Yes,
You've seen this video, is that correct?
several times.
Okay, run it through. Okay, stop. As Mr. Meade stated in his statement here, did the Casey's vehicle stop at the intersection?
No,
Did it made a continuous turn?
yes,
He described a lot of things going on there at that intersection, didn't he?
It's been identified, correct. It's not 13.
13A.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the next paragraph.
at that time,
Let me try to get it set up here. I'm kind of just. All right.
At that time, the individual turned left, east on Ferris Road. As he did so, he pointed his gun directly at me. I immediately ducked and searched for my pistol. I typically keep my handgun inside the pocket of the driver's side door, but I realized I stored it in my vault. I recall airing, quote, "He's pointing a gun at everyone out here. He's coming past you right now, Ryan," which would be Ryan Rosser. "He's driving towards a Target Street, i.e. Estates Place," unquote. An officer, who I again believe was Marshal Youngless, responded, quote, "Is this our guy, i.e. Mr. Barber," unquote. I replied that it, quote, was not our guy, unquote, and was, quote, totally unrelated, unquote.
Now, I noticed some of the, like you indicated, some of this is in quotes.
Yes.
Not sure what that's about, but did you, after this, did decide afterwards that there were any other interviews that would take place after reading the statement?
If there were any other interviews?
Yeah. Had Youngest been interviewed?
No.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next paragraph.
As I aired that information, I made a U-turn and drove east on Ferris Road. By the time I turned around, however, the suspect had disappeared. I believe he had turned off Ferris Road. I turned onto Estates Place and saw the suspect's vehicle parked in front of a house near the end of the street on the eastern side of the road. The house was several houses south of 4071, Estates Place, where we executed an arrest warrant. I aired that the suspect was stopped well past the target address, almost at the end of the road.
Okay. Now, you did see on the video that he did take that path.
That's correct.
Was there anything about that statement that caught your attention?
No.
All right. Go ahead.
I was not wearing my tactical vest, so I pulled onto the western side of the road near the intersection of States and Sale Road, several houses north of the suspect's car. I quickly got out and went to the bed of my truck. About that time, Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz pulled beside me and asked me what was going on. I started putting on my tactical vest and yelled that, quote, "He's right there. They're in the car at the end of the street," unquote, and something to that effect. Rosser asked me who I was talking about, and I yelled, quote, "The guy with the gun," unquote. Just then I put on my vest. Just then, as I put on my vest, the suspect got out of his car, still holding the black pistol in his right hand. I yelled, quote, "You ready?"
Yes.
Quote, "That's him right there," unquote. I still got the gun. I'm sorry, not unquote. He still got the gun in his hand. In response, the suspect looked directly at me, turned away, and started quickly moving toward the house located at 3996 Estate Place. He also appeared to have a plastic bag in his left hand.
Okay, now, at the scene, do you know whether or not there was a bag found?
Yes.
Okay. And what bag was it? It was on capture on body cam?
Yes.
It wasn't collected.
No.
But what was the bag?
It would have been sandwiches, Subway sandwiches. It wouldn't have been collected because it's perishable item, so.
All right, let's go to the next paragraph.
I quickly grabbed my rifle from the back seat and slung it over my head with gun strap. By the time I shut the door, my back door, the suspect had dipped behind the southwest corner of the house, away from my view. I believe the suspect was deliberately evading me. I got into my truck, accelerated toward the end of the street. Just as I passed the southwest corner of the house, located at 3996 Estates Place, however, I saw the suspect. He was approaching a side door inside the open fence near the southeast corner of the house.
Okay. So up at this point in time, you're reading this, what did you think was going on from what you read here?
Well, he sees him with a gun and he's going towards the house, so.
All right. Next paragraph.
I immediately slammed on my brakes, came to a screeching halt, and as I jumped out of my truck and trained my rifle on the suspect, jumped out of my truck and trained my rifle on the suspect. As I did so, the suspect pulled open the storm door. I yelled, "U.S. Marshals, it's the police," repeatedly yelled, "Show me your hands." The suspect ignored my commands, however. I kept my rifle trained on the suspect, and I quickly moved northeast towards the gate. As I did so, the suspect appeared to be trying to open the main door. I could not see the suspect's hands as his back was to me, and the storm door was resting against against his body. I repeatedly yelled for him to show me his hands as I neared the gate, but the suspect refused to comply.
Okay. What does that mean in law enforcement lingo that you keep your rifle trained on someone?
It's aimed in his direction.
Go to the next paragraph.
I stopped a few feet outside the gate just as the suspect opened the main door. He started to step forward, but he stopped at the threshold, seemingly in response to my commands to show me his hands. He appeared to sigh, and as his shoulders drooped and his body slightly slumped, at that moment, I believed the suspect was going to surrender. But immediately thereafter, he turned and looked in my direction while lifting his right arm back toward me, raising and leveling the barrel of his gun in my direction.
Okay. So he says that he looked at Mr. Meade.
Yes, yes,
He said then he turned and looked at him.
yes,
And he says, while lifting his right arm back towards me. Is that right?
yes.
Okay. Did you find anything useful in your investigation from reading that?
Well, I took in consideration the way the door opened, the way the door shut, and where he was standing. The door opened from right to left, and he said he turned to face him with his arm extended towards him, pointing a gun at him.
How does that factor into?
The door would have to be open a lot further than, it'd have to open up quite a bit further, so.
Words about how far open the door was. Again, it's all, yarn.
Why don't you all approach? You can continue.
Thank you. Okay, Detective, I believe we were at that last sentence down there. If you start with, in that instant.
In that instant, I screamed, "Drop the gun," as I stepped left while flipping the rifle firing mode and shot at the suspect. I stopped firing when the suspect collapsed inside the doorway.
He didn't mention which firing mode it was in. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go to the next paragraph.
I believe I fired 5 to 6 rounds. I believe I fired all my shots in less than 1 second. My shots were fired in a northeasterly direction. I was not moving when I fired. My target was the suspect's center mass. And as I used my rifle's aim point red dot sight, I would estimate that I was 20 to 25 feet southwest of the suspect when I first exited my truck. At the time I fired, however, I had closed the gap and was estimated approximately 10 to 15 feet from the suspect. The backdrop of my shots was the exterior of the house. I did not have any cover concealment at the time I fired. I would estimate that about 6 to 8 seconds passed from the time I got out of my truck until I fired my rifle.
Was there anything out of that that caught your attention?
No.
You said my backdrop for my shots was the exterior of the house?
Anything objection, Your Honor, leaving?
He's just commenting what it says.
Yeah, he did comment that the backdrop was the exterior of the house.
And did you find any, in your investigation, were there any bullet strikes in the exterior of the house?
No.
Just real quick, center mass in law enforcement language, what is center mass?
Center mass is below the collarbone and above the torso, the lower torso.
Let's continue on.
Moments after I fired, someone asked whether I was okay, and I turned around and saw Officer Ross and Yorkowitz approaching. I told them that the suspect had collapsed inside the house and was on the other side of the storm door, which had almost completely closed but was propped open a few inches. I slowly approached the suspect with Officer Rosser providing cover and loudly announced that the police were coming into the house, that anyone inside needed to keep their hands where they could be, where we could see them. I did not hear any response from inside the house, from in the house.
You want to continue on? Go ahead.
The glass upper portion of the storm door was shattered after I fired, and I could see the suspect laying face down inside the doorway. I opened the storm door and told Officer Rosser to cover the area to the left, west of the entrance, which appeared to lead to the living room. I ordered the suspect to show me his hands, but he was not moving or responding. I also noticed blood on his clothing. I grabbed the right side of his body with my right hand and rolled him over to his back, revealing a black semi-automatic handgun underneath his torso.
All right, continue on.
I told Officer Yorkowitz to cover the area to the right, east of the entrance, which led to the kitchen. Around that time, an older woman poked her head into the kitchen and asked what was going on. I told her that a man with a gun was coming into her house, and she replied something to the effect that no one was bringing guns into her house, into the house. She went back around the corner and left the kitchen, and I told her she needed to go forward to the front of the house. I yelled at anyone else in the house that was coming out needed to show me their hands. I heard what sounded like a male's voice coming from the living room. Sorry. I asked the man who the suspect was, but he did not know. I asked again why a man would be coming into a house with a gun. I believe he replied that nobody would be coming into the house with a gun. Officer Rosser then informed the man that the suspect did in fact have a pistol. I then announced that everyone in the house needed to exit out the front door.
Okay. Now, you've been on SWAT, homicide for years, and you've cleared houses before, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and we've actually, when you clear houses, are you there to interview somebody?
No.
Okay. What's the first thing that you're going to do?
You're going to contain them and put them outside.
Fair enough to say you're not trying to find out what information they know.
No.
Okay, let's go to the next paragraph.
As Officer Yorkowitz was aired information over the radio, I asked him if he aired the address, and he replied that he had not seen the numbers. I told Officer Rosser to cover the suspect, and I ran to the front of the house, saw the address, and aired that information. I also aired shots fired and said that a medic was needed for a gunshot wound. I returned to Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz, and a brief time later heard sirens approaching the residence. I again asked Officer Rosser to cover the suspect, and I went to the front of the house to direct the responding officers. Several officers from CPD arrived and I pointed them to the suspect's location on the south side of the house.
Okay, let's Continue on.
Medics were not at the scene yet. I told Todd Barnhart, a deputy with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office and a member of SOFAST, perform compressions on the suspect. As he did so, officers told those inside the house to exit out the front door so the house could be cleared. Once they had done so, I helped an officer clear the bedroom. Then an officer said that the basement also needed to be cleared. I told the officer to let me know once he cleared the basement so that I could let the medics know it was safe to arrive on the scene.
All right. You go ahead, continue on.
I went outside and met with Officer Rosser. He then asked several CPD officers to take control of the scene. About that time, an officer aired that the house was clear. I aired that it was safe for the medics, who arrived a brief time later. I directed them to the suspect's location on the south side of the house. As medics treated the suspect, I went from the front yard and met with several members of SOFAST SWAT team. One of them then transported me from the scene to SWAT headquarters. This ended my involvement with the incident.
Okay. Then go on to the next paragraph then.
I was in fear of my life at the time I fired my weapon. Before confronting the suspect, I observed him pumping his gun into the air at the intersection of Carl and Ferris. He appeared agitated and looked as though he was yelling as he pumped his gun. I could see the suspect clearly since his vehicle was only about 10 feet from my truck, and I was sitting in an elevated position relative to his car. I could also see the suspect's gun had an extended magazine.
Okay. Once again, in the videotape, Casey's vehicle didn't stop there, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, let's go to the next paragraph.
Not only was the suspect pumping his gun into the air, but he also pointed the gun at the drivers of passing vehicles, tracking the vehicles as it passed northbound. Before turning on the Ferris and pointing the gun directly at me as he drove, I believe the suspect might fire at me, so I quickly ducked down to avoid being shot while simultaneously reaching for my pistol. I heard over the U.S. Marshal's radio what I observed. I presumed that Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz, who were one or two vehicles behind my truck at the Carr Road intersection, heard what I aired since they followed me back from Estates Place. I also believe the SOFAST team members that had just executed the search warrant would also likely be listening to the Marshal's channel. Those individuals included Marshal Younglist, Todd Bernhardt, Mark Brown, Matt Carter, Dave Chambers, Dave Webb,
Go ahead.
and possibly others. And in fact, U.S. Marshal Younglist was listening since he aired and asked for my location and whether the suspect was the same person that I've been looking for earlier that morning.
All right. You want to go ahead and continue on?
Based on the suspect's actions of pointing his weapon at me and other drivers, I intended to detain him for a field interview and/or arrest. In fact, I believe I was duty-bound under Ohio law to investigate and arrest the suspect. By the time I made a U-turn, the suspect's car had disappeared from my view. While searching for the suspect, I happened to turn turn onto Estates Place, as it was first available street off Ferris Road. A moment after I turned onto Estates Place, I saw a suspect's car at the end of the road. The car was parked in front of the house at 3996 Estates Place on the eastern side of the road facing south.
All right, you can continue on.
I intended to approach the suspect, but realized I did not have a weapon in my weapon or my tactical vest, which identifies me as a U.S. Marshal and protects against gunfire. I pulled over several houses north of the suspect's location, near the intersection of Sale and Estates Place. As I quickly grabbed my tactical vest from the bed of my truck, I identified the suspect's car to Officer Rosser and Yorkowitz, who I believe at the time had heard my radio transmission. It was at that time the suspect exited his car, I believe in response to my yelling, looked directly at me, still holding a black semi-automatic pistol in his right hand. From where I was standing next to my truck, my tactical vest displayed U.S. Marshals would have been clearly visible to the suspect.
All right, continue on.
In the seconds before firing, I loudly identified myself as a police officer.
Do you not want to show Gary?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you can back up.
In the seconds before firing, I loudly identified myself as a police officer and repeatedly ordered the suspect to show me his hands. However, he continuously ignored my many commands and refused to surrender. From the time I got on my truck until the suspect opened the main door, I could not see his hands since the storm door was resting against his body, and he was facing away from me with his back towards me, with his back to me. Just before I fired, the suspect had opened the main door and taken a step forward. I ordered him to show me his hands as he abruptly stopped, sighed, and slumped forward. I've encountered very similar actions from suspects many times, and each time the suspect surrendered, leading me to believe this suspect would do the same.
Okay, you can go ahead.
But the moment after the shoulders drooped, I quickly turned but moments after his shoulders drooped, he quickly turned his head and torso right in my direction to confirm my location, while he suddenly and unexpectedly started to raise his right arm back. As he did so, I saw he was still holding the gun, raising the barrel upward in my direction. I believe he intended to shoot me, and I would be killed, especially because I had no cover or concealment, and I was only a short distance away. I screamed, "Drop the gun," and moved left, north, as fast as I could, in an attempt to escape the path of the barrel. He refused to drop the gun, however, and after taking a step left, I fired at the suspect. At the time I fired, I did not think I had any other reasonable option to protect my life from deadly threat presented by the suspect actions.
Okay, you can go ahead, finish up.
I do not recall the suspect saying anything during the incident. At no point did I ever touch the suspect's weapon, nor did I witness anyone else touch the weapon. After the incident, I learned the suspect's name was Casey Goodson Jr. I did not know the suspect, and I do not believe I have had any other prior encounters with him. This concludes my statement, and is signed Deputy Michael Jason Meade, badge 1027.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our break for the evening. Do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence. It is your duty not to form or express an opinion on the case until it is finally submitted. And if you could, you got your break coming in at 8:45. We'll try and start at 9.
All rise.
So have a good evening.
Waiting for everybody to leave.